Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Chicago Philippine Reports TV, still the #1 Filipino show in the Midwest. I'm Brigitte Pascual. Welcome to our show. Today we have all the top stories from the Philippines. We also have what's happening in our own Filipino American community of Chicago. We have interesting interviews led by our very own executive producer, Miss Veronica Leighton. We have Brigitte, Cueter, Carino. All these are coming up and more. Afterward from our sponsors, please stay with us.
Yan! Dito na! Perfect!
Philippine cabinet and security officials were again fielding familiar questions from senators in the third hearing of the Senate Foreign Relations panel on the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte and his transfer to the International Criminal Court. One question that triggered a heated exchange between senators and cabinet officials was who gave the order to bring Duterte to the tribunal in the Netherlands. Resource speakers invoked executive privilege, but senators pressed for answers.
I'm not lying, but I just want to have the executive privilege.
Nandito na tayo eh. Executive privilege ka dyan.
Bakit naging executive privilege?
Kanina
Sino-sino na tinuro mo?
Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla says this is exactly what they wanted to avoid when they skipped the previous hearing. But Duterte ally Senator Ronald De La Rosa maintains they just want the truth.
You're trying to make people admit something that they will not admit. And executive privilege is a valid excuse not to answer any question. President Duterte is already at The Hague. We are asking kung sino nagpadala doon sa kanya.
Sino na order? We're trying to understand every step of
As I said earlier, everything was cleared with the DOJ. We are not bullying you, sir. We want the truth.
Remulla ended up taking responsibility for what happened.
I gave the clearances to number one, serve the warrant of arrest as I saw it, as I deemed fit. And number two, to fly him to The Hague. And then that is, I caused this through my brother.
Giving orders is different from giving clearance.
Retired Supreme Court Associate Justice Adolfo Sevilla Ascuna sees a possible violation in the surrender of the former leader to the ICC without going through local courts, citing Republic Act 9851.
The warrant of arrest is illegal. However, I believe that the surrender is not, because the surrender must be pursuant to a treaty. We have to follow Article 59 of the Statute of Rome, which requires that the custodial state, namely the Philippines, must first bring the arrested person to a local court. It was not done. Therefore, there was, in my view, a violation in the act of surrender.
Secretary Remulla, however, insists due process was followed and everything was above board.
May sinasabi si Secretary Remulla na yung nangyari surrender, hindi extradition. At hindi katulad ng extradition, sa surrender, hindi kinakailangan mag-issue ng warrant of arrest.
Mga extradition kasi, hindi ho natin pwedeng gamitin dito sapagkat hindi tayo pwede mag-file na extradition dahil nasa atin po yung tao. Ang extradition po na sinasabi ng batas ay yung court o yung arresting state, yung state pala na may warrant, ang mag-file na extradition sa Pilipinas. Kaya surrender lang po talaga ang option natin.
Senators also asked about why Duterte's doctors of choice and his own daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, were prevented from seeing the former president.
Sabi kasi dito, his choice, hindi nyo choice. Hindi nyo choice i-limit yung doctors niya. Were there doctors that he requested you did not allow in?
Sir, we have substantial doctor. I think we have complied with 7438, sir.
Did you prevent VP Sara from seeing her father?
Yes, sir. I did prevent the request of. I did deny the request of President Duterte for him to allow VP Sara to enter, sir. Kasi nga naman, sir, mag-alas 10 na yun, sir. And that is already around 12 hours after we first got him into custody. The VP has all the chances to be with the President earlier.
For Remulla, it's a case of first impression, since the laws will only be tested now.
This is a surveillance video captured by Calabarzon PNP operatives on Alabat Island in Quezon Province last March 27, where several Chinese nationals were spotted in the area. After more than a week of surveillance, the PNP coordinated with the Bureau of Immigration, which then issued a mission order. On Wednesday morning, 42 foreign nationals were arrested. According to the PNP, the foreigners could not present any documents, including their passports. They claim that they are in the process of applying for work visas.
Wala silang dokumento para pumunta at makarating dyan sa island ng Alabat. Kung meron mang silang mga binabalak dyan, is na-preempt na natin.
The foreigners claimed they were part of a project to build windmills in the area. What's your project there?
Yeah, it's the windmill.
Windmill?
Yes.
Okay, why did you choose that place? Why did you choose that place?
Because we are the only contractor. The client is the one who to choose the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you all from China?
No, some of the engineer they are from China, and we have a lot of the local engineer.
There's no excuse po. Kailangan bago magsimula ang isang foreign national sa trabaho niya ay mayroon na siyang application, meron na siyang visa na approved. Hindi po pwede na nag-a-apply pa lang ng kanilang mga permits ay magko-commence na doon sa kanilang trabaho.
Meanwhile, the governor of Quezon denied any connection between the foreigners and POGO operations.
Hindi POGO, clear na hindi po POGO. Workers po ng corporation, no? Nagtatrabaho po doon kasi meron tayong ginagawa doon na wind power na matatapos by November.
But she believes the contractor must explain why the Chinese workers allegedly had no proper documents.
Obviously, may violation doon sa contract ng corporation and kasi dapat number one requirement nila yon eh. If we have foreign workers, dapat sila ay legal workers.
The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission or PAOC and the Bureau of Immigration are still investigating the operations of foreigners in the area.
Alleged drug lord and mayoral candidate of Albuera Leyte, Kerwin Espinosa, was shot at a campaign event held at a gymnasium in Barangay Tinagaan on Thursday. Local police say the still unidentified gunman, who had been hiding in the ceiling above the stage, shot Espinosa from behind while he was waiting for his turn to speak. A minor and vice mayoral candidate Mariel Espinosa Marinay, sister of Kerwin, were also wounded in the incident. All the victims were rushed to a nearby hospital, but their conditions remain unknown. Checkpoints have been set up across Albuera as a manhunt is underway to capture the suspect. An investigation has also been launched to determine the motive behind the assassination try. The Philippines Pole Body Chief, George Garcia, has condemned the incident, saying, "Ballots and not bullets should be the solution to political problems." He urged authorities to bring the perpetrators to justice immediately. Espinosa, who was once tagged as a major player in the illegal drug trade, dropped a bombshell last year. He alleged Senator Bato de la Rosa, then Duterte's police chief during his brutal drug war, forced him to link ex-senator and Duterte critic Leila de Lima to the illegal drug trade, which eventually led to her detention for over 6 years. De Lima was later released and cleared of all charges. Espinosa is seeking a local position even as he faces a money laundering case before a Pasay City court and drug-related cases in Manila.
Asian equities rebounded Thursday as U.S. President Donald Trump backpedaled on his tariff plan. It's a relief for battered stock markets that have cumulatively lost $10 trillion from the recent brutal sell-offs. Not the case, though, with China, as Beijing forges ahead with its 84% reciprocal levies on the U.S., further intensifying the trade war between the world's two biggest economies. Here at home, Philippine shares back online and were up as traders cheered the tariff pause. For the day, the PSE index climbed 1.2%, closing still at the 6,000 level. Value turnover was also sharply up at 13 billion pesos.
Very difficult, especially that the decision happens at the 11th hour. Even the White House said they're saying that it was part of the deal. It's part of the negotiation. So they're saying that it was expected. We don't know really if that was part of his strategy to sort of, force the weak hand on the other countries. And then, of course, now, right, it's really with China. We have to be watching at least between now and the next 3 months before the other tariffs take into effect.
In corporate stories, Pure Gold Price Club of the Koch couple books higher full-year net income and revenues in 2024. The grocery retail chain owed it to same-store sales growth plus higher traffic and basket size from its S&R warehouse. Pure Gold also approved cash dividends worth 5.21 billion pesos or at 1 peso and 9 centavos per share for the regular and 72 centavos per share for the special dividend. Payout is on April 30 for the former and on September for the latter. Next to RFM Corporation, top line grew by 5% to 21.7 billion pesos, while net income was higher by 12%. First quarter preliminary figures also show net income doubling to 309 million pesos, while sales were up by 3%. For dividends, it's worth 200 million pesos in cash from the food maker at 5 centavos per share payable on the 26th of March. This brings to 400 million pesos its overall cash dividend for the year. Meanwhile, Del Monte Pacific settles a legal fight with lenders in the U.S. The company said it took out $20 million in borrowing to pay off a disputed debt with banks that would have seen a board takeover by those lenders. The lawsuit filed in Delaware accused Del Monte Foods and its subsidiaries of defaulting in a 2022 facility agreement. Del Monte had denied the claims, which it contested in court.
ViaTimes, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. ViaTimes for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. ViaTime has very interesting columnists. You name it, ViaTimes has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call ViaTimes at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today I have a very interesting, really very interesting because he's an author and what he wrote is a really very interesting topic and his name is Hank Quense. Okay, Quense. Quense.
Correct.
All right, he's the author of AI Toolkit and it's really something unfamiliar with many of us. And that's why it is very interesting. He's going to be talking to us about it today. He is the author of this book, AI Toolkit. And he will be telling us how it leverages and integrates the writers, what do you call, across writing processes from planning to marketing and selling the book, of course. And welcome to our show, Mr. Hank Quense. And okay, this is what you wrote. AI Toolkit is something new to many people out there. And first thing, why did you write this book?
Well, about a year ago, I was between projects and I was a little bored, so I was looking for something new, and I decided to look into AI. And so I looked into several AI apps and played around with them for a while. Got the hang of how to write intelligent queries so that I could get decent output from it. And one day I asked it, what makes a good character? And I come back with a very long list of stuff. And I was very disappointed in it. It was generic. There's anything you could find, anything in that response you could get from a book on fiction writing. So I didn't think that was very good. So I tried something else. I tried what makes Ted Lasso a great character? And the response from the AI stunned me. It was so detailed and so accurate that I was really taken back by it, how good it was. So then I typed in the storyline for one of my books, my novels, maybe about 50, 75 word storyline. And I asked it to develop a plot for this storyline. And again, it did a wonderful job. It wasn't my story, but if I was starting out as an author, to write a novel, this would be an excellent place to start because you could get this list of maybe a dozen plot items. You could pick 2 or 3 of them, to build your novel around. And that's when I'd be convinced that AI could be a great assistant for writers and for authors. And I started doing some research and talking to people, and I found that most of the authors I talked to were afraid of AI. They wanted nothing to do with it. So I said, I got to write a book about these to get these people over this fear, and they can see what a wonderful writing buddy or assistant that an AI could be when used intelligently. And here we are. I wrote the book. It's been published, and I think people are starting to finally learn that this is a wonderful tool when used correctly.
You must be a highly technical person to be attracted to AI. And
Well, I am. I've got an engineering background, so I am technical, but I guess my problem is that I'm always willing to learn. I'm always looking to learn something new. Give me something new that I haven't done before, I'll jump right in and try it out. So that's what happened with AI. I was just trying to learn something new when I discovered that what a wonderful tool this could be, and it resulted in a book.
have you written other books in the traditional way?
Do I have other books? Is that what you said?
Have you written other books in a traditional way instead of AI?
Yes, right now on Amazon, I have about 24 books, fiction and nonfiction.
Wow.
This is just the latest one. The nonfiction books they cover fiction writing, self-publishing, book marketing, and now AI.
So do you think by learning how to use AI in the writing processes, do you think it will really help many authors out there?
Yes, I really do. What I've found that it can do for me, it can relieve me of a lot of the tasks, the boring tasks that are associated with writing and fiction writing. It actually provides me much more time to be creative because it takes the donkey work and does it for me. As an example, yesterday, I wrote a brief description of a new website I'm building, and I put it into the AI, and I said, give me a script for a 10-slide trailer. And in 2 minutes, I had this thing done. It was a very good layout of the script, and it gave me ideas about what to put onto the slides. I went on camera, and I built a trailer. This probably took me about 40 minutes from the beginning to the end. By myself, without AI, this would have taken me a couple hours. So, this allows me to sit around and come up with great ideas on marketing or new books or articles or whatever. I love it. It can be misused, though. It is dangerous. But if used correctly, I think it's a wonderful tool.
Wonder how an ordinary writer, particularly those who are startup writers, can really adapt using AI process.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. Can you rephrase it a little bit?
How can they adapt using AI in their writing processes?
How do they do it? Well, you got to get an AI app, and there's many of them out now. They're coming out in droves. I've used ChatGPT, and my go-to one now is Perplexity.ai. That's the AI app that I use all the time. So they got to sign up, create an account with one of these AI apps, and then they can start using it. The trick is the queries or questions, how you write the query and give it detailed instructions on what you want from the response. And then you're pretty much set to go. It does take a while to become cognizant on how to write a good query. And that's the secret of using AI, writing a detailed, good query that gives the AI the instructions on what you want it to do.
Do you think any ordinary or startup writer can really adapt using it? How would they like it?
I think that depends upon the person themselves. I know writers who don't want anything to do with it. They want no part of it. You know, I've asked them, to try it out or something. They just refuse to do it. They say, oh, I'm too busy, or I don't have time. But others, I think, I know others who have jumped right into it and they love it. They use it all the time in their work to help them get over, another application for this is if you're writing a book, a story, and you get stuck. You got a plot problem. You get the character into a situation where you don't know how to get out of it. You ask the AI. Say, give me 5 ways to get out of this situation. And it'll come up with them and give it to you. I know writers have done that. I've done it also.
As a writer, can we really save time writing about an article using AI?
It doesn't give me more time. Well, it does. It saves me a lot of time. And I can use that time for more creative processes, thinking of stuff to do rather than being, bogged down doing boring work, doing research.
Are you in your book, AI Toolkit, you're showing there the tools on how to use AI faster and easier for many writers, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I have. It's divided into several parts, but it has queries that the writer can take right from my book and use themselves, and it's on planning, writing, publishing, marketing, and business. There's over 40 queries that they can just take right out of the book and use without changing anything. I just have to adapt it, to their storylines or their synopsis, but they can use them. They don't have to really do any research. It's all in the book, on how to use the AI to help them write.
Can you mention a case whereby it will be easier to understand what is in your book as a toolkit for writers?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the question was.
Yeah, a good example on how to use any of the tools in your book.
Okay, if you're trying to self-publish a book for the first time, it's very confusing because you're going to run into a lot of terminology that you're not familiar with, and you have to go research, and you end up guessing. Now, one of the things I got to do is, if you're uploading it to, say, Kindle's going to say, give me 7 keywords. First time writers say, what's a keyword? When they do some research, they find out what it is, and then they guess. They guess at what a good keyword is. And having bad keywords affects your sales. So what you do is you go into Kindle, you go into an AI, and you give it a short synopsis or a storyline of what the book is about. And you tell it, give me a list of keywords. And the AI instantly, within a minute, it will give you probably about 20 keywords that you can use. And these keywords are a lot better than an author can get by guessing. That's just one example of, I was very impressed with how it can do that. Another one for self-publishing is it'll tell you what book categories to use. That is a very confusing part of Kindle. What book categories to list your book under. AI will tell you exactly what to do.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So where can our viewing audience buy your book?
It's on Amazon and both published. It's an ebook and a print book on Amazon. Excuse me. Probably in Barnes and Noble and some other sites. It's not in bookstores, though, I don't think. It might be in some, I'm not sure. I haven't checked that recently. but definitely on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
How much does it cost?
The ebook is $6.99. The print book is $24.99.
All right, very good. And one last word before we sign off.
Okay. Well,
One
you
last
want
word
from me?
from you to our viewing audience.
Well, are you going to ask me a question, or you want me to do something?
Okay. So before we sign off, if you want to address our viewing audience about your book.
Well, okay. It's I think it's very worthwhile to buy one if you're an author or a writer. I think you'll get a lot of good use out of it for editing and revising your scripts. I think people are missing a real bet if they don't plug into AI and learn how to use it and how to simplify their job as a writer and an author. That okay? That good?
That's very good. Very good, Mr. Quinn. And thank you. We thank you. Maraming salamat is thank you in our language. Maraming salamat. And for gracing our show today.
Thank you, Veronica.
And we really appreciate your appearing on our show, and keep us updated of some changes or updates on other books that you'll be writing. Okay? And
okay, fine.
Thank you very much. Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
Bye.
It's more fun in the Philippines.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, I have a very interesting and very popular, respected and renowned individual in our community. This woman is really very interesting, and she has been doing a lot of work in humanitarian contributions through medical mission. Her name is Miss Nora Tsai. Do you know her? It's very
Good afternoon, people. Good afternoon, Vero.
Hi, Nora. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for this.
You have been around the community, the Filipino American Community of Chicago, and you are really doing a wonderful work out there serving the community.
Thank you.
And that work is as a medical missionary. Ms. Nora has been doing medical missionary work through the years. And let's hear from her because she's on her way to retirement, she's saying, and through all this work. Hi, Nora. Welcome to our show.
Hi, Cprtv. Thank you for giving me this privilege to be interviewed about our project in the Philippines.
Yes,
thank you.
I'm very thankful that you are gracing our show today. Nora, okay, can you please share with us some of the exciting and interesting experiences that you've done through medical mission?
Well, actually, this dream of being able to help marginalized kababayans started when after graduation, I worked at the USC Charity Hospital in the pediatric section of the hospital. And I saw the poverty and the need of the people because they didn't have money to cover the expenses in the hospital. And I promised that if I will be lucky in the future to have the kind of funding, I'll be able to help them. And that's how it began. My commitment with the Philippine Medical Association of Chicago started in 2005. So that would be 25 years. So I've been joining their mission through the years. And then, of course, I adapted other projects, and we did outreach projects with my family members on a smaller scale. And it just, I guess, got bigger, better, and more fulfilling for the family. So, and the last one was actually after we had an accident in 2018, and I did promise, because we were survivors, that I would do payatas, which was in my bucket list anyways, and Baseco. So I was able to do that. Baseco was this year in February 16, 2025. And I think promises that I gave out to friends that I would do the mission, it has been fulfilled. And I think that's going to be my last one, because I'm already going to be 80 this year.
Well, yes, because you've been doing it through the years, and maybe you are really getting sick. I mean, really tired of doing this.
Oh, it's time for me to attend to our personal stuff, at home, and even start downsizing, I guess, and start moving and make life simple.
So professional, you are a nurse.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that.
You'll
The
be
bachelor's
working
degree.
as a nurse. And that's why you are doing a medical mission in your.
Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I have a bachelor's degree from University of Santo Tomas. And I did work throughout in the ICU, CCU area of, in nursing. That's what I primarily did with my profession. Anyways, but then I sort of just joined the registry when I married Fred, so I was just registry or part-time through the years, maybe like working 2 days a week or once a week, just to keep my license in order.
All right. And so out of your retirement is when you thought of doing this philanthropic work, actually. And and this is just for the Philippines, or what? Have you done other countries for your medical missions?
Not really. I was going to join the Bolivia group, but for some reason it did not happen. But my heart also was, if I have to go to another country, I would rather go to the Philippines and touch different areas in the Philippines, because we really, really need help. I mean, the people do need help as far as medical, surgical, even dental, even as simple as circumcision. There's just so much that the Filipino people can benefit from doing the mission in our country.
I think you're still young to retire from what you're doing.
Veronica, I'm going to be 80 this year.
You're still young. Yeah, look at you. You still look so pretty.
We will still continue to contribute, participate, but nothing big anymore, because this last one was actually our Tsai medical, dental, and surgical mission. And it was really, it was successful, and it was really big. But I was lucky because we had a lot of good, dynamic donors and volunteers. So I couldn't have done it without them anyway. So it was really very fulfilling and a good experience, a very good experience for the family members who joined us, which is our children and grandchildren.
Yeah, you also have your children and in-laws, right?
Yes. Even our 4 years old was distributing goods, and she was it became a different person. She's usually throw a temper tantrum, but in the mission, none of that. She was going around distributing goodies, snacks, loaf of bread. She was just simply happy doing it. And she asked me if I'm gonna do the mission again. Not not that she knows what mission really means, but she did ask me if we can do it again.
That's very nice. A very good example to show your children and grandchildren how to help other people. And
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
you have mentioned a little
That they
while.
will continue that.
Very good.
So, anyways, yeah, it is a good feeling that, you know, actually the I always say the phrase, and Brian actually wrote it down in the book that they wrote for about the mission. And I would summarize it by saying, this mission, even if you do the medical, giving the medicines, or well, the dental, which is good, but the surgical is more of a life-changing procedure for the kids because of the cleft lip or upper palate or removal of the tumor. And the goods distribution for me is actually just temporary in the sense that you just give them a good day for one day. And I always say it's like a speck of light that we are able to give to our kababayans because their lives they're living is dark. They're in the dark. And but for the people, they really what do you call it? A yearning for like food. So that one day doing the goods distribution is like fiesta for them. And to me, it's like it's a speck of light that I give them to those lives who are in the dark. A lot of the children even go through garbage to look for food. So when you give them something good, like even simple carne norte, they'd say, sarap lola, kasi mas masarap kaysa sa basura. That was told to me by a girl, and I always remember that.
Okay. You were talking earlier about these places that you went to, the Baseco and the Payatas. Can you please explain to our viewing audience what these places are in the Philippines?
Okay, make it quick. Payatas is known as a Smoky Mountain. Payatas was a garbage dump. And it became so huge, it's like a mountain or mountain hill. And a lot of the people do live on the base of the garbage, or most of them would live on top of the garbage because that is their source of livelihood. They do recycling, and a lot of them just live on top of the garbage dump. So it was emitting methane, so that's why they called it Smoky Mountain. But one day it erupted and then buried a lot of people. From what I understand, 700 people were buried alive, and that is Payatas. The garbage now has been moved to Montalban, so they have cleared up that area, and it's fenced. So I don't know what the project is going to be for that one. And then Baseco is actually, I really don't know the details, but it's called Bataan Shipping Engineering Company, which was started by the Marcoses. And I guess it was maybe a dockyard, a shipping, or I don't know, maybe Philippines was doing business in Asia, or maybe I was even thinking maybe that was the time they were doing something with the Bataan project. And but then when Cory Aquino came into power, she sequestered the whole area. Then eventually, when the time for former President GMA, Cory Aquino sequestered, and then GMA took it back and then opened up the area for our kababayans to be able to reside there. I guess, I don't want to use the word squatter, but they were allowed to live there, for free. So there was an influx of a lot of people from the south, and it became a residential community. But it is now the biggest poor urban community in the Philippines, Baseco. Or they have port area and they have also Tondo. That's Baseco.
Is there some kind of a kind of a hill or mountain that they built, or to live in?
No, Payatas, no. It was all garbage dump. That's why it became parang, hindi naman mountain, but just, a big amount, tall amount, many garbage disposals from different places. And so it became like a hillside. Now, Baseco, no, there's no mountain, or it's not a garbage dump area, but it's more residential area that it was open for the people of the Philippines to stay for free. So people came all over from the north, actually marami from Mindanao and the Visayas area.
And their daily living is by rummaging through the basura.
Yeah, the Baseco people, sorry, Payatas people, yes. That was their livelihood. They went through the garbage, and then they'll collect like plastic bottles, paper goods, that's being recycled. And of course, a lot of them, because they're hungry, they do search for food. It's leftover. So narinig mo yung, ano bang tawag doon, where they get the leftovers and then they stir fry it and then they sell it, or that's their food for the day. I forgot the term that they use, but they collect all the leftover food, like extra food from, McDonald's, Jollibee. Oops, sorry, I'm mentioning them, but something like that. I think you know the term, but anyway, so that was their livelihood.
I see. So, well, helping people like this, I'm sure really it makes a tug in your heart, and I really don't know how you could do it all these years, but must really be your humanitarian heart to be helping.
It started many years ago, and actually I was able to involve the kids, and we did small scale outreach doing Hospicio de San Jose orphanage, and I took them also to some poor areas like even Tondo, and we did also Gawad Kalinga, which is in Bulacan and Parañaque, and I am proud to say that we were able to help and build 50 homes for the people dislodged from the river of Marikina. And they were transferred to Towerville, which during our time, I think it's Sapangpalay. And those things happen without plans. It just happened. I guess I was meant to go back there and do something, because I did go to Sapangpalay when I was in senior year of my nursing profession.
What tips can you give to our viewing audience, or for those people who want to follow your footsteps?
Oh no. Many times I also say, what am I doing here? When you do this charity work in the Philippines, it's like I've asked myself too, what is the government doing about this? But if you really look around, even the United States, we do encounter homeless people. So putting that aside, I just thought I will just do the best I can to be able to make a difference in someone's life. Never mind about politics, government, or whoever. That is my personal agenda with Fred and my family. And because it is a satisfying experience, it just so meaningful. You know, I can't explain it to you, but to see a smile of a kid who was eating like the small amount of pancit we gave him, it's so hard to describe. Indescribable feeling. Happy. I'm really happy. Actually, that's why for many years I really don't talk about our charity project with for the most part with the other people.
Well,
I just want to do it as I call that, diba, we have purpose in our lives, you know. And when we had an accident, I think something was telling me that I have to give back more because we survived and we are alive. So.
all right, very good. Nora, I know you're
Yes,
very.
ma'am.
I thank you for gracing our show today. So we're running out of time, and I congratulate you for doing the good deed that you're doing for our the people of our community in the Philippines. And also, I've heard that you're going to be the recipient of the Humanitarian Award in this upcoming.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I will qualify. It's
Congratulations.
okay. Reward or no reward, I will continue.
I want to tell our viewing audience that Nora was a recipient of our the ViaTimes Cprtv Hall of Fame twice already, and the last one was she was the Woman of the Year for the Chicago Filipino American Hall of Fame. All right, Nora, good luck to you and congratulations.
Thank you for your friendship. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
And more blessings for the coming years for you.
More blessings for all of us. God bless.
Thank you.
This is a prayer and a reminder. All we have is now. Anak, umuwi ka na.
Worldwide this morning, growing concern over a growing health crisis.
The World Health Organization has just declared that this is a pandemic.
Hi. I can't hug you. Don't touch me.
Over the last several days, we have seen peaceful demonstrations.
Protests over police brutality continued here in Austin.
Remember when you started going to college? You came home a liberal?
Dad, please.
That's what we do to you guys in this point.
All these people that we never met and never will meet because of what had happened to them. It's just too much.
The way that our family communicates is not necessarily, it's not great.
What advice would you give for those of us that are struggling?
Deal with it.
I think the norm for our communities has been to just stay silent and keep to your own business.
I could definitely be doing more than I'm doing right now, and I know that others can as well.
What if someone is called from God to be an activist?
I can answer the question.
Shouting revolution, oh wow, breaking each tradition.
You don't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement?
An advocacy group reporting at least 3,800 anti-Asian hate incidents since last March.
I'm kind of conflicted. I'm like, maybe I should move home and be here with them.
I hope that this moment makes you take a step forward and a step together in the right direction.
In order for a subject to not be taboo in our community, there always has to be someone to start that conversation.
Yeah. You speak up for me when I can't speak up for myself. And I've seen you do that for other people.
I see a lot of people who just kind of cut off friends and family, and I don't think I can do that. I love my parents.
This is a symbol of our voices. If you look at your neighbors around you, you will see who stands with you, who stands for you.
At least I know that you can stand up. That's the thing I'm so happy about.
We would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big
selection of 21-karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon. This is Brigitte, Carino, Cueter, bringing you this week's local news from our community. Antidepressants appear to increase people's risk of sudden cardiac death, a new study says. People taking the mood meds are more likely to die suddenly from heart problems, and their risk rises the longer they're on the drugs, according to findings presented Monday in Vienna at a meeting of the European Society of Cardiology. Exposure time to antidepressants was associated with a higher risk of sudden cardiac death and linked to how long the person had been exposed to antidepressants, said lead researcher Yasmin Muskonabik of Rigshospitalet Heart Center in Copenhagen. On Saturday, April 5th, the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency honored a group of creative 5th and 6th grade students selected for their artistic and writing skills used to express environmental awareness as part of the agency's annual poster, poetry, and prose contest. The students selected from throughout Illinois were recognized at a ceremony at the Illinois State Library in Springfield. Each year, 5th and 6th grade students in Illinois take part in the poster, poetry, and prose contest as one of the agency's environmental education initiatives. As part of the contest, participating schools study environmental concepts with an emphasis on the current year's environmental theme. Teachers round out the classroom instruction by having the students create posters or poetry prose works to illustrate what they have learned and submit these to the Illinois EPA. Participating schools can select 4 works in each category to submit for competitive judging. This year's theme, How Can You Slash Your Trash?, invites students to think creatively on how to reduce the amount of waste they produce. This could include buying fewer single-use products, composting food waste, repairing broken items instead of replacing or buying new, and recycling items that cannot be reused or repaired. The Illinois Department of Revenue is reminding taxpayers that the Tuesday, April 15th deadline is quickly approaching for filing 2024 state individual income tax returns. The agency began accepting and processing individual income tax returns on January 27th, the same date the Internal Revenue Service began accepting federal returns. We encourage taxpayers to file it electronically and choose direct deposit in order to ensure the fastest processing and issuance of any refunds, IDOR Director David Harris said. Illinois is participating in the free IRS Direct File program this year. Eligible Illinois taxpayers can use the program to file their 2024 federal returns directly with the IRS. Federal return information can then be transferred into MyTax Illinois to file Illinois individual income taxes at no cost. Direct file eligibility can be confirmed by visiting directfile.irs.gov. The U.S. Department of State has recently updated its travel advisory for the Bahamas to level 2, urging travelers to exercise increased caution due to potential crime and shark attacks. The advisory highlights the violent crimes such as armed robberies, burglaries, and sexual assaults can occur throughout the islands, but are more prevalent in Nassau and Freeport, in New Providence and Grand Bahama Islands. The advisory specifically mentions the over-the-hill area in Nassau, south of Shirley Street, as a high-risk area where gang-related violence has resulted in fatalities. Travelers are also advised to be cautious at vacation rental properties, particularly those without private security. The Department of State suggests securing doors and windows and refraining from opening the door to unknown individuals. More than 50 countries have reached out to the White House to begin trade talks, a top economic advisor to U.S. President Donald Trump said on Sunday. as U.S. officials sought to defend sweeping new tariffs that have unleashed global turmoil. During an interview on ABC News this week, U.S. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett denied that the tariffs were part of a strategy by Trump to crash financial markets to pressure the U.S. Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. He said there would be no political coercion of the central bank in a Truth Social post on Friday. Trump shared a video that suggested his tariffs aimed to hammer the stock market on purpose in a bid to force lower interest rates. Exemptions provide homeowners to savings on their property tax bill. Senior homeowners are eligible for two main exemptions. Senior exemption. This exemption is available to all seniors 65 years of age or older who occupy their property as their principal place of residence. This exemption automatically renews every year. Senior freeze exemption. This exemption is available to all seniors that receive the senior exemption and had an annual household income of $65,000 or less in 2023. Homeowners must reapply for this exemption every year. The Cook County's Assessor's Office has mailed out application booklets to all homeowners that received the senior freeze last year and need to reapply. Homeowners can also apply online for their exemptions at www.cookcountyassessor.com/exemptions. Homeowners are strongly encouraged to apply online so staff can easily locate the application, provide a status update, and notify the homeowner if missing documents are needed. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our news this week. This is Brigitte. See you next time.
So